All right, let's just get right into it. What we're talking about here isn't some sci-fi fantasy set in the distant future. Nope, we are looking at a forecast for the next 36 months of AI development. And believe me, the timeline is so incredibly fast that it has some of the top experts, the insiders building this stuff, deeply, deeply concerned about what's coming down the pike.
And I really want you to let that sink in for a second. Everything we're about to go through is grounded in what's happening right now, behind closed doors in the major AI labs. This is not speculation. It's a projection, and it's based on tangible, real-world breakthroughs that have already happened.
So, just how urgent is this? Well, according to some of the leading minds in tech, the progress we're witnessing has catapulted AI development somewhere between 40 and 50 years ahead of schedule. I mean, think about that. That's half a century of progress, all crammed into this exact moment.
Yeah, that's the big question, right? How in the world did this happen? A leap this massive? It doesn't just happen by accident. It's the result of a few fundamental codes being cracked, all at pretty much the same time, which has just blown the doors wide open for exponential growth.
And really, it all boils down to three key technical breakthroughs. You can think of them as the secret formula that was just discovered, and now everybody is in a mad dash to this new frontier of intelligence.
So, first up, we figured out something called scaling laws. This basically means we can now predict, with math, exactly how much data and computing power we need to make an AI smarter. It turns the journey to superintelligence from a guessing game into a straightforward engineering problem. Second, we learned that just by giving an AI more time to think about a problem, what the experts call inference time, it gets dramatically better results. You know, just like how you and I solve a tough problem better when we can actually take a second to think it through. And third, well, this one's the real game changer: distillation. This idea is, well, it's mind-bending. Imagine an AI teacher passing all its knowledge to an AI student. But in that process, the student doesn't just learn what the teacher knows, it becomes vastly more intelligent and capable. This creates a crazy feedback loop of improvement. It's like evolution on hyperspeed. And honestly, this one changes everything.
So let's start the clock. 2025. This is the year this all goes mainstream in the workforce. In fact, experts are calling it the automation cliff, because the very nature of office work, of digital work, is about to change practically overnight.
The big shift to wrap your head around is this. We're moving from the chatbots we use today, you give it a prompt, it gives you a response, to truly autonomous agents that can execute entire jobs from start to finish. And these agents won't just do one little thing. They're going to operate with different levels of independence and even work together in what are being called swarms to handle really complex projects.
So, what's the impact? Well, by the end of 2025, we're expecting to see major companies rolling out hybrid teams, where human managers are overseeing both their human employees and their new AI workers. The most important new skill is going to be learning how to manage AI autonomy, because pretty soon, basically any task you can do on a computer becomes fair game for automation. Okay, on to 2026. If 2025 was all about automating the digital world, 2026 is the year that intelligence breaks out of the computer and into the physical world. This is what's being called the year of embodied AI. Put simply, AI is getting a body. And that's really the theme for the whole year. That same powerful intelligence that's been automating office jobs is now going to learn how to interact with our physical world. We're talking warehouses, factories, and eventually our own homes. And hey, don't think for a second this is just for giant billion-dollar corporations. While those super advanced humanoid robots will start out pretty pricey, we're expecting to see basic utility bots hitting the market for as little as $2,000 to $10,000. That's the price of a used car. It makes this technology accessible to almost everyone, and that signals the start of a massive, massive shift. Which brings us to 2027. This is the climax of this whole 3-year forecast. This is the year that we are projected to see the dawn of artificial superintelligence, or ASI. So this is the absolute crucial point. 2027 is when we're expected to cross the threshold where AI systems can improve themselves without any human help at all. Remember that distillation feedback loop we talked about? This is where it goes into total overdrive, accelerating development at a pace that's beyond our ability to even comprehend, let alone predict. And look, this isn't some fringe theory from the corner of the internet. Even the typically calm, measured leaders in the field, like Sam Altman, are openly saying that we are right on the edge of something that will fundamentally transform society as we know it.
The people building this tech, they all seem to agree a monumental shift is coming.
And what's truly wild about all this is that every major AI lab seems to have figured this out at roughly the same time. There's no secret sauce, no protective moat that one company owns. And what that means is that super intelligence won't be a monopoly held by Google or OpenAI. It's a capability that's going to be popping up everywhere, for everyone, all at once.
So, what does all this mean for you, for your career, for your business? This isn't just some interesting tech trend. It's a full-blown paradigm shift, and it's creating what some are calling the first mover mandate. That little window of time you have to adapt, it's closing, and it is closing fast.
I want you to just let this quote sink in for a moment. Every single AI tool you use right now is the worst, the dumbest, the least capable it will ever be again. From this moment forward, the improvements aren't going to be small steps, they're going to be massive leaps, and they'll be continuous. The big takeaway here is that any strategy that involves waiting to see how things shake out is already dead on arrival. The cost of just sitting on the sidelines is growing by the day.
To put all this in perspective, think about the big technological shifts in history. The Industrial Revolution, that played out over decades. The Internet Revolution, that took years. This AI revolution we're in right now, it's happening on a timeline measured in months. The speed, the pace itself, is the most destructive part of this whole thing. The advantage doesn't go to the biggest company anymore. It goes to whoever can learn and adapt the fastest.
And really, that's the final critical question this whole analysis leaves us with. Unlike any other time in history, we just don't have the luxury of time to adapt. The future is arriving way faster than we ever thought possible, and the question is no longer if it's going to change things, but are you ready for when it changes everything?